Everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Success can look perfect on the outside while something inside quietly whispers, there's more. Today's guest knows exactly what that feels like. She worked her way from the bottom of corporate America to executive leadership, only to realize that achievement alone wasn't enough. Instead of settling, she chose to reinvent her life, confront her own self imposed limitation, and dedicate her career to helping others unlock their potentials. Today, she's a best-selling author, entrepreneur, leadership mentor, and the founder of Lampe Company. Diane Lampe, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank you, Sekani. I'm so glad to be here.
All right. So first of all, I want you to take us back to your childhood, basically. Right. So what was it like growing up, and what were the experiences that, shaped who you are today?
Well, I came from a family that very hardworking parents,
Mm.
and they both went and had jobs and they worked. And I really, they wanted me to, at that time, you get married, have babies, do all that stuff. And
Right.
there was more. That doesn't mean I didn't have any, but at that time, I always thought that even back then that I knew I wanted to do some big things in life. And interestingly enough, I never did go, I took a couple classes in college and I was so bored that I quit going.
Mm.
And I know that sounds really weird. And so I'm like, and maybe somebody out there feels like that too. And so the reason why I'm telling you this is because I just was so restless. And
Mm.
so I got a job, is what I did, is I got a job. And I found out sooner than later that a female over 20 years ago without a degree is not a good thing. But I've made up for it in other ways. So
Mm.
I'm telling everybody on here that are in their 20s, you're fine. If you don't have a degree, don't let that eat you away, because
It's
it was
really
eating
good.
me away, and it
Mm.
made me feel like I was not good enough because
Mm.
I didn't have that degree. Because at that time, you had to have a degree to get
Right.
into executive leadership, even now somewhat, but I didn't have it. So, but the interesting part, Connie, after I got the job and then I've got subsequent jobs, I kept getting promoted.
Mm.
And, it was kind of funny that that happened, because here's the magic thing. I remember when I was in school and you get your report cards, and I don't even know if they do this anymore, but because it was over 20 years ago, of course. But in the report card, they say all the notes from the teachers of things that you need to improve.
Mm.
And mine was because I was talking too much. And you know what? I use that to my advantage, because that's what I do today. I
Mm.
teach and train and mentor other people to become the best version of themselves. And I've had my business for over 20 years. So
Mm.
sometimes the gift that you have, you don't even realize it until
Realized.
later,
Right.
right?
Right. Wow. Okay. I'll say you have a beautiful story, by the way, actually. And first of all, I would say what I learned from your story is that you were not, even though you didn't feel like you felt like you needed your degree, right? But you didn't let it hold you back, regardless. You kept on, climbing the corporate ladder till you get to, the executive leadership side. It just shows that, people can learn from it, right? Do not let a degree hold you back, right? Even though, like you said, you still need your degree, but you didn't let it hold you back regardless. And also, you mentioned that, you did some things that helped. You didn't feel better about not having a degree, so you did some things that, helped you. So, what were those things you actually did to, make up for not having a degree?
Well, I realized that I had to show up
Mm.
every day to be the best version of me. So I would go in early, I would stay late, I would come up with ideas, And as I moved through corporate America, uh, one of the positions that I had, I made it very clear that I wanted to be into leadership and I wanted to be
Mm,
in sales and marketing, even though I started in customer service at that job. And but I just kept coming up with different things, and they brought me on, and
mm,
I created some things, and everybody liked it, the systems and stuff like that. And I remember the day I thought about this yesterday, really, and I forgot about this, but there was a shot that I took
mm,
that I was waiting for that moment. And if you put yourself out there and you tell people what you want and then you deliver, then they're going to look at you a little bit differently and say she's real instead of just words. I was willing
right.
to do the work to
Mm,
make it happen. That's the point I was going to make there because a lot of times we want something, we wish and we hope, but we don't do anything about it. And then we go, it's because and I was doing the same thing in the beginning. I was like,
mm,
oh, I don't have a degree, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And then I flipped it and said, what can I do about that? And what can I do differently to even move through that at the time? Because it was over 20 years ago, right? And women, especially, and without a degree. Yeah,
mm,
and here I am today with my own business. But there was a lot of struggles along the way here
mm.
because you,
Okay, you were gonna say something, Diane.
yeah, I was gonna say if you have this up here, it's what you say to
Mm,
yourself that causes your results.
mm.
You
Wow.
know, you're I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I said this right.
Mm,
Is where is that note? And because I wrote it down. No one talks to you more than you talk to you.
yes.
Think about what I'm saying. We got all those things going on in our brain, and we can talk ourselves out of things. We could do all that. So your mindset is really driving your actions.
Mm,
So if you're already have the defeatist thing, oh, it's because I don't have a degree or I don't have this, chances are nothing's going to happen for you. Or you've got to decide, those of you that are listening, you've got to decide that
mm.
that's not you, that you were meant for more. And what can you do about it today? Not next week, today,
Today, right now,
right
actually.
now.
Exactly. Wow. Okay, you know the funny thing, right? I feel like young adults today, we struggle with procrastination and procrastination is the first one, and comparison.
Right.
Right. We always compare ourselves to other people. Oh, this person has this, so I don't think I can do what he or she is doing. Or, for instance, you mentioned not having a degree, right? But I think now there's a mindset shift, right? Okay, now that
Right.
you've realized you don't have something, what can you do about it? What can you do
Right.
to make up for it, right? So personally, I think I have a lot to learn when it comes to that, actually, before even going to life. I struggle a lot with some of these things, and I mean, now I know that whenever I feel like I feel some type of way, I can always ask myself, what can I do about it? What are the things I need to do to make up for the shortcomings? Right. So yes, thank you, Diane, for that beautiful word. Honestly, I'm beginning to learn a lot, I would say.
As
All
you can
right.
tell, this is how I look at I love your spirit, and this is how I am too. I mean, I just love people. I'm grateful, and I want other people to get what they want. But they have to first of all decide what they want. And that's a big thing. Because if they don't
Okay.
decide, how are you going to get what you don't even decide?
Hmm.
Right?
Another thing is, right, right, is another thing is some people don't even know what they want.
Right.
They don't. They really don't know. So how do you work towards something you don't even know what you want? Like you don't know what you want to achieve. You don't know anything about yourself, right? So how do you now work towards it? There's no goal, there's no direction. So first of all, I feel like you need to have a goal, a direction, and do not limit your goals because some people tend to limit their goals because of their current capacity. Don't do
Right,
that. Yes, I
right.
learned that from you, by the way. All right. So yes, another thing, that late night Tony Robbins infomercial, right, that
Yes.
changed the direction of your life, right? So looking back, what do you think you were ready to hear, or why do you think you were ready to hear that message at that exact moment?
That is an interesting question because
Mm,
when I was in the backyard that day or close to evening, I'm like, this can't be it. What's wrong with me? Because I was grateful, I was being promoted, I had all these great things going on, and uh, but it was empty. And I
mm,
would say empty because it's like, okay, check that box, check that box. Because sometimes we want something and we get there and it's like, check that box. And I knew I was meant for more. And I remember that night I just couldn't sleep.
mm,
And I said, something is not right. I got up, I put on the TV, and at that time, infomercials were a big thing on TV.
mm,
Some of people on here don't even know that because they probably weren't born over 20 years ago. But um, I remember Tony Robbins came on that commercial and was talking about 30 days can change your life, do this and do
mm,
that. And I'm like, you know what? Why not me? So I decided to get it, the 30 days, and I did it every day for 30 days,
mm,
all the way through. And it opened up so much for me that I decided then to go to one of his events. And that
mm,
opened up even more. And so it just trickled because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
mm,
And so that's what happened there. And it just opened it up to a point that I realized that I couldn't get enough of learning, personal development, mindset, because that was my ticket out to figure out that I had to become a better person and a better version of myself to get what I wanted. So if anybody on here is listening to this, invest in yourself
mm,
more than anything. That the mindset, my mentors in the beginning were books. Now you got podcasts, you've got lives, you got so many everything that you can do, but the important thing is to do it.
right,
And then it's like a stepping stone. One thing will open up to another. To
mm,
to because when you learn something that's really good for you, just can't your mind is like a rubber band. And why do I say that? A rubber band, when you stretch a rubber band, it never goes back to its original form. It's stretched, it never returns. That's your
mm,
brain. That's the same
mm.
thing. So, mine once stretched never returns. So, that's why you have to invest time in yourself, just on podcasts like this.
Exactly. Wow. Okay. Invest in yourself, like you have said. Right. So, when we're talking, I just randomly remembered a conversation I had with a friend. We're talking about our goals, right? And he said, Joy, your goals are too big. You're not being realistic. I mean, it touched me in a way, like, I started to question myself, do I have to be realistic when it comes to, my goals? I mean, what do you think about that, first of all?
Absolutely not. Whoa, I knocked over my mic. I got so
Right.
I,
Mm,
goals should be so bold that they scare you. So don't listen to that person. Here's the thing I would tell you. Before I take advice from somebody, I look at where they are in life and if I want to be like them. That's the advice I take. I don't take advice from people who are not where they are or haven't accomplished where I want to go. If I'm going to ask them that, so rethink who gave that to you and ask somebody else. Well,
right.
you just asked
Whew.
me and I told you absolutely not. Go for it.
Exactly. And you know the funny thing, right? You're actually where I want to be. So I think I'm gonna take the advice from you, honestly. All right. Wow. So thank you for that one, actually. And you mentioned invest in yourself, right? So I was thinking, what do you think are like practical ways, or should I say daily habits, one can begin investing in themselves?
Yes, it's the daily habits that will make you, because how you do anything is how you do everything.
Everything. Mm.
So, and it's down to the littlest things. It matters. And when those habits start growing and into good habits, they start compounding and seep through everything in your life. But you have to be aware of them. I read a book one time about making your bed first thing in the morning. That sets you up with a win. That's how it goes. Boom, I won. And the other thing I want to say about that is that, what are you reading every day? How are you starting your morning? Who are you listening to? Like, I had somebody tell me, as soon as they get on there, they're listening to the news, and I'm like, why? No offense to the news, but I don't want to listen to
Right.
that first thing in the
In the
morning.
morning, right.
And they go, you don't? And I'm going, no, because you'll tell me what's going on. I don't need to do it.
Mm.
I'm not going to spend
Exactly.
that doesn't mean I'm oblivious, but I choose not to open my morning and start my morning with that on my mind.
Right. Mm.
You know, so I've developed habits every day that I start my day the same way, because I have to put on my armor. And the reason why I say it that way is because I teach and train and mentor and help other people. So I've got to make sure my mind is right so I can help them. Does that make sense?
Right, it does actually. Hmm.
Yeah. Hope that
So
helps.
basically, you said how you start your day matters, right? You could start with, positive talks when you wake. And another guest told me, do not pick up your phone when you wake up first thing in the morning. It shouldn't be you turning on your phone and just doom scrolling, right? You should, like you said, make your bed. Just walk around, right? Right? Walk. Touch grass. Over here, we say touch grass, right? Just walk around, inhale, exhale. Just make sure you bask in the moment, right? Rather than filling up your mind with negativity. I mean, the news, I feel like when it comes to the news, it's always the bad things first, right? So you don't want
Right,
to
of
start
course.
your
That's
day.
how they want you to listen to see, whoa, no, I need to listen to that. So but I
Exactly.
have to admit, in the morning, I have some apps on my phone that I don't look at
Right,
I don't scroll through
right.
other stuff. I have I call a row on my phone of I go from
Mm,
one to the next to the next to the next of things that I'm listening to that'll feed me
feed, right.
for the day.
Okay,
And
okay.
I won't, I don't even like to get out of my bed before I hit that button. So I don't let anything else seep in my mind. So I keep it ironclad.
Mm. Oh, all right. So yes, thank you, Diane. I want to say thank you honestly because I feel I'm learning a lot and looking at you, I know that women can actually achieve things, right? Women can achieve greatness. So that's what inspires me about you. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. And first of all, I would like to ask, right? There's people say motivation, right, is not enough. Listening to motivational speakers is not enough.
No?
If let's say even reading books too, right, it might not be
Right.
enough. So why do you think they say that?
Well, Zig Ziglar said it best.
Hmm.
Motivation is like bathing. You need it every day. So you can do that, you can do that from yourself, listen to it. But it's got to be backed by a
Hmm.
burning desire to do something. You can get on there and go, I'm gonna get this done today. But if you didn't have that burn inside of you to do it, it'll fade. Like when people they go to an event and they get all fired up, and then when they get home, it fades and they go back to be themselves. How do you change that? Right? I can tell you a couple of things that I teach people to do all the time, especially if they go to an event. You know,
Hmm.
people go to events and they get all fired up. They're there for 3 days and then they go home and it's like, okay, well, back to life. What I like to teach people and share with them is when I'm taking my notes in the back of my book of my notes, I write like, let's say somebody said something, oh, I need to change that about me. I write it in the book. I write it in the book. And so I have a bunch of stuff and then I narrow it down like to the top 10 things I want to do. And then I narrow it down to the top three. And then I narrow it down to the top one. And then what I do is do the first one first. And I do it. And so once I get that one done, then I go to number two. And that's how I do it. And I check it off. And it works for me. I may not work for most people, but it seemed you got to keep things very simple and clear in your brain of what you want to have happen. So if you go to an event for example, or they're listening to some training online, what do you want to get out of it when you're done? What is the purpose of it and what are you going to do with it? So having that clear mindset, and I look at this way. Mindset is always put as one word, right? But it's really your mindset. What is your mindset on? That's what I tell people. What is your mindset on? Because that's what you're going to get.
Right. Wow. Okay. So yes, I'm learning a lot, right? I'm looking forward to learning more, actually. So another thing, right, is looking back at your journey, right? What would you say is one piece of advice someone had given you in when you were much more younger, let's say 25?
Quit quitting. Stop stopping. Because winners never quit and quitters never win. Simple as that. So if anybody's on you 25-year-olds, listen to what I'm just telling you. Quit quitting, stop stopping. And get somebody that you admire and you want to hear from and learn from. A lot of times when we're younger, we hang out with our friends, right? Well, you're the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with. And so if your friends are out partying and doing all this stuff, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but if that's all you do and they're not working half the time, guess what? You're the sum total of them. I didn't make this formula up. If you listen to Jim Rohn, which I've studied for years, he talks about that. You're the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with. Add up what they make, and that's about you. That's about what you make. So how do you change that? Got to change your room. And even if it's in a book, start with the books. Oh, and I did want to mention, if anybody on here, I do a YouTube live that I just started for free for 17 weeks on Think and Grow Rich. If they haven't heard of that, that's by Napoleon Hill. I became certified through the foundation to teach it, even though I've been teaching it since 2007. I became certified in 2016. And it's 17 weeks. And I just do it every Tuesday night at 7:30 Central. They can go on there for free. And hopefully that'll give them a kickstart.
Oh, all right. Think and Grow Rich, right? I'm going to put your YouTube handle in the show
Yes.
notes, right? So people can just click it and then head out to your.
Yeah, and
I'm going to join too.
Yeah, and they can catch up too, because I just started with week number 1 last week. This Tuesday night will be week 2. So the replay will be on there, and I'd love to have, I just really want to make a difference and help people. That's why I did what I did for that YouTube live. I want to reach more people because I do this with my team in my business all the time, and I have since 2007 to try to help them. And guess what? I get better every time I do it because I'm learning more. So it seeps into me, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, okay. What you said, I remember the guest too, right? When we were talking, I was always repeating what he said. And I was like, you know what? I'm repeating you. I'm teaching myself too. Right.
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 People don't
We're all
get that. I
learning.
mean, I like when I learn something, I think of it like hot potato. What do I mean? I learned something that's really good, then I'm going to go and teach somebody that as soon as I can because it ingrains in me.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot to learn, actually. I don't know if you don't mind, we could probably do like, we could go in depth, like a deeper dive in another recording, if you don't mind, maybe some other
Absolutely. I'd be
time.
happy to do that.
All right. So yes, thank you, Diane. And finally, I keep asking you questions for 20s, even though you look like you're in your 20s, by the way.
Thank
Um,
you.
all right. So I just want you to, talk to someone out there, specifically younger adults, because it's easy to listen to motivations, right? But some people's reality is really tough. It's tough. Um, Most people might not have the luxury of opportunities that we have. Personally, I would say I have a little bit of opportunity. There are people out there who do not have the opportunity at all, but they are starting from the grassroots, basically. So, what advice would you have for people in that category, for people basically in their 20s trying to figure out life?
I would say that's a great question because you got to start from where you are. That's where you have to start. So if you've never had any mentorship or any leadership, that's why you need some of those books and some of those podcasts, they're free. Start feeding your mind so that you can get a little bit better every single day. And when you do that, it compounds. And then start seeking counsel. That's why I was talking about my YouTube Live because I did that out of passion to open it up. I was going to do it with my team. And then I thought, wait a minute, there's more people that want to hear it. And so my mentors in the very beginning were in books. Now you've got podcasts. Now you've got all kinds of Kindles and whatever you got to listen to them. You can listen online. You don't have to really read a book, but I like reading books because I like to underscore it, but that's how I like to do it. Highlight, underscore, because you're at a different place at every time. So I would say to anybody that's on here today, start from where you are, seek wisdom, watch who you listen to. That's a bigger thing. Who are you taking advice from? And look at them, their surroundings, their what they have, what they don't have. Do you want to be like them? Then take their wisdom. You don't want to be like them? Don't take their wisdom. Or don't even ask or thank them, but keep seeking it. And so in the beginning, my mentors were in books. And I just kept reading them and seeking wisdom. And then as it evolved, that I events, mentors, all that stuff came as I learned more. So that's what I would say. Hopefully, somebody on here is going to say, you know what, that's me. I want more out of life. I'm meant for more. And now I tell people this last thing, and I say it all the time, and some people probably won't like it, but knowledge is great, but knowledge with is power when applied. Think about what I'm saying. So you got to take that knowledge and do something with it.
I bet it's right.
Make today the day for you. Whoever's listening to this,
Mm,
make today your day.
good day.
So
Mm,
hopefully that
wow.
helps.
It helps a lot, actually. Knowledge is power. Wait, I'm
When
trying to
applied.
rephrase. When applied, okay. Knowledge is power when applied. Right. If it's not applied, it's just information.
It's
So it's
information. You got a
right.
lot. I know a lot of people that have a lot of information that are way
Mm,
smarter than me. But one thing I know I do is I take massive action and I figure it out along the way. You'll figure it
mm.
out.
Right. We will eventually. Wow. So yes, thank you, Diane. Something came up in my head right now, but I'm looking at the time. So okay, I
We'll
think
do
I
it
should talk
another
about it.
time.
Let me just quickly talk about it, right? They say I also spoke with someone who said, listen to people who you don't want to be like, so you can unlearn what they learned.
Well, and that's a good point too.
Right.
To uh, you could not learn from them,
Mm,
but you could write down note to self, don't be that. So
don't
you
do
can do
this.
that as long as you don't do the other part, right? Yeah,
Right,
that's a good point.
exactly.
Like, hey, when I grow up, I don't want to be like that.
Mm,
I'm not going to be that person. You see that with families all the time. People say that, oh, I'm not going to be like my dad, or I'm not going to do this like my mom, or whatever. No, they're doing note to self.
mm. Wow. All right. So yes, thank you, Darren. And finally, before you go, where can listeners get, learn more about you and also connect with you?
They can go to dianelampe.com. That's Lampe is Lampe.com. And then I also have a section that they could set up a discovery call if they want to talk to me. That's fine. I'm open to that. And then also they could go subscribe to the YouTube channel and get on the 17-week series and join me on that. Be happy to help them, and we just go along tonight, tomorrow night. We're having it 7:30 Central. Just subscribe and hit the bell and they'll get reminded. So yeah,
Oh.
I'm fired up. It was so great talking to you as well.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. It was amazing talking to you. I feel like it's an opportunity, actually, and definitely I will not let it waste. I'll put it to good use, actually. So yes, thank you, Diane. And I'm going to put the links in the show notes so it's easily accessible for listeners. And to my listeners, I would say thanks for tuning into Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need it and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new information. Once again, thank you, Diane. Do you have a beautiful day ahead of you?
Great. Bye.
All right, take care. Bye.